got to hear from D. If you did not, we're working on getting that uploaded to YouTube within the next couple days. So Mr. A Strike's helping out with that, and definitely I know even the wheels were turning today. I was talking to D, and she's working on putting together some other things with some of our former athletes, some of the state champs that we'll try to get out to you at some point that maybe you can listen and take some things away from that. Today, we kind of switched it up. Coach Smith was going to come down here and speak on the phrase of the day, but she had a discipline issue. So today, we're going to kind of use Coach Brunell 2 days in a row, and he'll kind of give you a little preview of what's going to go on tomorrow as well, which is pretty exciting. And then we'll get into Coach Hampton. So here we go. Coach Brunell.
Well, I've had, I think, 30 minutes to figure on all this, but phrase of the day, learning as we get into this is something that some of our programs, not just us, we've used it. I know I can remember at least as far back as 2009, and I'll tell a quick story with that in a second, but a lot of other programs, I think football, basketball, boys basketball around here as well, use it. But WIN, just an acronym, stands for what's important now, okay? Obviously, the mental game we feel is important. We wouldn't have this week set up. You know, Coach Miracle put this together just for that reason. It's such an important part of the game, and I believe what separates those from that are good to be able to allow them to become great. Often, I've had a lot of really talented people that just couldn't figure out the mental side of it, and I think that's always held them back. So it's just a simple acronym. Two quick stories how it's kind of been applied. We had a pitcher in 2007 in the sectional game. In the first inning, gives up 4 runs, and you can see visibly the wheels falling off on the mound. And we had little wristbands made with the acronym WIN on the inside. And I just looked out at him and I kind of pointed at that, and you could see him visibly. Okay, and he went through then into his process some of the stuff that you'll be hearing throughout the week, and that you'll probably hear tomorrow as well, of being able to slow the game back down and get in a place where you can compete at a high level. And that's ultimately what this is about, is just trying to stay in the present, to keep, as a competitor, we're only in control of certain things, and we certainly aren't in control of, in a baseball perspective, I tell our guys all the time, we don't have control of the last pitch, we don't have control of the next pitch, we only have control over this pitch. So we try to win the pitch, right? We want to win that pitch, stay in the present. And that's really what it's about. Tomorrow we'll talk about this a little bit. I think 7 successful characteristics of players, whatever, that's all thrown out the door because I got it worked out. We're going to have a former player here from Westfield who's on our 2009 team. It's playing with the Mets now. Kevin Pawecki is going to FaceTime with us. We'll have him live up on the screen. You guys can ask questions. We'll just have a live feed question and answer session with him about the mental game. Kevin works with a mental coach. He believes in the mental game, and I think it's going to be a neat thing for us to be able to sit and ask him some questions about that. So on that note, if you have questions, if there's anything that you would like to make sure that I ask Kevin, you can tweet to our Twitter account, the Westfield Baseball Twitter account. Just either tweet something at me, DM it, whatever, and I'll include that, and I'll get it, try to get it into the list. I'm going to look through all the questions and try to pull out what we can do in the amount of time. But excited that he's available. He's in California and going to FaceTime from California. It's a rough life being a pro these days. So he's going to, it'll be about noon there. He'll probably just be rolling out of bed. But he's going to FaceTime with us and answer those questions.
Very good. So a lot of those phrases, hopefully you'll tie them together. You can take them back to your teams. Today, what's important now, hopefully you can be in the moment and really pay attention to Coach Hampton. I want to intro Coach Hampton. We were lucky not to steal him away from North Montgomery a few years ago. Coach Hampton, he grew up in Knox, and then from there he went to Purdue University. He's been a couple different places, from North Judson, North Montgomery, and now here at Westfield. During his time, very versatile. I mean, he has coached basketball, football, most of those you already know, but also golf in addition to that. He's been a head girls basketball coach. He has been a part of many sectional titles, whether it be through basketball, football. He was an offensive coordinator at North Montgomery. So really just has a ton of wisdom there. One of the best things I will say I've learned from him continually, not just as a coach, but also as an educator. If you've had him in class, you know he's a great teacher as well and a great friend. So go ahead, Coach Hampton.
of all, it's a pleasure to be able to speak to you guys. Believe me, this is like a dream come true for a coach to be able to speak to people, and they actually, are in tune with what they want to do educationally and athletically, and it's a true pleasure to be able to speak. So that's what I want to say first. Piggybacking off what Coach Bunnell said, the thing about his player, when he looked at his wrist and he saw that band, and he saw his coach tell him to look at that band, that's all about trust. That's that player trusting his coach and knowing that all I got to do is look right there. I can get back to where I need to be and focus and get this thing done. Even though things were going bad maybe at the time. So that's being able to focus and trust the coach. All right, now we're going to start with a demonstration. So Karen, you need to come up here. Karen has a chance to win this Starbucks gift card. You like coffee?
Yes.
Okay, well then get up here, man. Right here. You're right here. And now, the way that she's going to... You got to face the crowd, though. The way that she's going to win this card, she's got to throw it all the way across the room to somebody over there, and you have to catch the football. If you catch the football, she gets the card. Make sense? That's all you got to do. But you have to pick someone in the audience. I don't care who you pick, but you got to pick somebody in the audience. It's your pick. No, he's got to be up here.
Oh,
Got to be
okay,
up here.
my bad.
So you're picking Drew? Is that who you want?
Yes.
Okay, Drew. Over there.
Oh, you dropped it.
Oh, over here.
Watch him accidentally drop it.
Right here. You got the stage. All right. On the count of three. Don't get nervous. 2, 3. Scoot up. 3 steps. Right there. Okay. I'll give you a second chance. Okay. Oh, yeah. There you go. Okay. I'm going to ask Karen one time, why did you pick him?
He's the first person I looked at, and he made eye contact with me, so I was like, all right, you're up.
Okay. Had nothing to do with trust. That kind of backfired on me. Yeah. I thought you would pick somebody out here that you knew would catch the football. Like if it were me, I'd be looking at, not tough now, I'd be looking for this guy right here. Why would I look for Manley? Somebody tell me, why would I look for him? Someone raise your hand. Raise your hand. Why would you look for that guy?
He's one of the most reliable receivers we have.
Yeah. You guys have seen him perform, right? You've seen him catch the football in pressure situations. I've seen him do it. He would be a good guy for me to pick. Okay? So what I'm saying to you right now is that trust is an important issue when it comes to winning a gift card from Starbucks. But think about when the game's on the line and we got to get a reception. You watched that game last night, and Clemson comes down to the end of the game, and they're trying to win this game, and they're putting the ball in the hands of their quarterback. They're trusting that he's going to make plays, and it's all about teamwork and trust. At the end of the game, who's he going to throw it to? He's going to throw it to a guy that he trusts. Okay? And you guys have all been in athletics. I've been in athletics. All the coaches here. I remember being a junior in high school, and we had a sophomore on our basketball team that was 6'7". And back then, we didn't have a three-point line, so that tells you how old I am. But the goal of the basketball team was to get it inside all the time. If you had a 6'7" kid, that was a good thing. So you always tried to get the ball into him. Well, this 6'7" kid couldn't catch. He was a sophomore, and I didn't trust him. Neither did any of the other guards on our team. We didn't trust Rodney. So we didn't want to pass the ball to Rodney, but our coach was telling us, you got to pass to Rodney. That's how we're going to win. And eventually we got to the point where Rodney stayed after practice, got extra reps. He's up against the wall, throwing the ball against the wall, catching the ball. He's getting passes from the coaches. He's getting rebounds. He's doing all he can to try and get better. And throughout the season, we started to trust Rodney more and more and more. and we started throwing the ball into him and seeing success. So we began to trust him, but there's a couple reasons why we began to trust him. We began to trust him because our coach was telling us to trust, but also we were seeing Rodney go out there and try to, pick up his game. He wasn't just, going home after practice and getting out, first one out of the locker room, that kind of thing. Okay? So today we're going to talk about building trust. Coach, we click to the first slide. Okay, so that's just a picture that I ran across when I was putting this thing together. Think about the trust that's going into that little sequence of events right there. You're relying on that person. You're placing your confidence that they're not going to have a greasy hand and eat a greasy old sandwich before they're putting their hand down to pick you up. That's a lot of trust. So, not much more about that picture, but let's go to the next one. The definition. Okay? The definition of trust. Reliance on the character, ability, strength, or truth of someone or something. You guys recognize that picture? Anybody recognize the picture? What is it? State championship golf team, right? Or that might have been the sectional at the time. I don't know. Maybe the athletic directors can tell me better, but isn't that a team that was very successful? Very successful. And it's not really, it kind of is a team sport, but think about it, they're individuals as well. They're going out there and this guy's got to make this putt or the team's not going to be successful. So everyone on that team is depending on the other individuals as well. And that's really, really important. Depending on the success of others, that's a tough thing to grasp. You wrestlers, you go out there on the mat, and at the time, you're an individual. Everybody's watching you wrestle. But you know what? You've got to win that match for you to win the state title, to get enough points to win that state title. So, are you important as an individual? Yes. But there's also all these other guys in the other part of the gymnasium waiting on you to win that match so you can win the state title. So team sports and individual sports, I've coached them both. It's very important to be able to be a part of something as an individual and then see the greater is that you're part of something much bigger. Okay? Let's go on to the next one. The best teams that I've been a part of have that in common. They have trust. And I put trust as essential. Tie. Trust is essential. Every team that I've ever coached that has been any good has that characteristic. I know that you guys probably don't remember, but basketball in Indiana used to be one class. And I started coaching at a small school. You might remember, you're a Valpo kid, so North Judson. Yeah. I coached up there in North Judson. And little North Judson, we only lost 2 games that year in '95. We lost to Maryville once in the regular season. We won the sectional. We went to Michigan City, won the regional. Then we went to the semi-state, won the morning game against McCutcheon. McCutcheon was at least 5 times our size. But we had some kids on our team that were, number one, they were good basketball players, but number 2, they trusted each other. They trusted the coaches. And, in the evening game, it came to us in Maryville again. And Maryville was probably 6 or 7 times our size. They started 5 kids that went Division I basketball. All 5 of their starters were Division I. And we were beating them going into the fourth quarter. Our kids were trusting that we were going to win. The coaches were trusting the players. The coaches were trusting the coaches. It felt really good. Now, in the end, they beat us. They wore us down and 6'9", 6'7", 6'9", wore us down. But that was one of the best teams that I've ever been a part of. And it was built on trust. In the locker room, on the bus, to the games, all of that. Players trust one another and their coaches. There's a lot of times in a practice where you might be thinking, why are we doing this? What are we doing? It might not have anything to do with what you think it has to do with. Maybe it's building toughness. Maybe it's building team camaraderie. You know, a lot of the things that we do on the football, in football, it's all about building that family and that trust. I was watching something about the Marines the other day, and they said, man, the Marines come in there, they come in, they're insecure, they're isolated, they feel by themselves, and pretty much these guys, they work with them and work with them and work with them until they get to the point where they depend so much on the guy next to them. It's unbelievable. The unbelievable passion for the guy next to you, that you'll do anything for them. You'll take a bullet. Now, we're not talking about taking a bullet, are we? We're talking about going out there and playing your hardest in a game and that kind of thing. The Marines, we're talking about, I'm gonna step in front of a bullet if I have to for that guy next to me or that girl next to me. That's a lot of commitment. That's a lot of trust. Coaches trust other coaches as well. When we get into coach's office in a football meeting, there's some knockdown dragouts. I'll be honest with you. We argue. We don't punch each other, but we argue. But you know what? In the end, I feel like Coach Miracle trusts me, and I feel like I trust him. I trust Coach Gilbert. Basketball, the same way. I coach, with Coach Sumter, Coach Stahl. We trust each other. And I'm a big enough man, and when I say that, I'm not saying a big stature. I'm all right with somebody telling me that I'm wrong. I'm all right with Coach Stahl. He's 25 years old, 26. If he tells me that I think you're wrong, Coach Hampton, I'll listen to him. I'm not above that. So that's something too, that trust. I trust. If he says that to me, there must be a reason why he's telling me that. So, next. What does trust look like? Think about this. Being on time. You guys might not think that's a big deal, but being on time. Think about all your teammates. They watch you every day. You're on time, you're on time, you're on time, you're on time. Never have to worry about that guy. He's on time. Never have to worry about her. She's on time. Doing your job, serving your teammates, your performance. That's why I thought maybe one of you receivers would be out here. I thought she'd pick some receiver, because they have seen you guys out on the football field with success. Karen was probably too busy getting her crown for her homecoming, but she might have missed some of those catches. So, your performance, think about that. Think about Rodney, what I told you about earlier. Rodney couldn't catch a cold in Alaska when he started. I mean, he could be standing there with a fan blowing on, dripping wet. He couldn't catch a cold in Alaska, but as he started working and performing, now we trusted him. I didn't trust him in the beginning. He earned that trust, though. He earned it. Your attitude, your effort. Think about that. Think about how far that goes. And I'm not talking about just football and basketball. I'm talking about golf. I'm talking about tennis. I'm talking about swimming. Attitude and effort. How many morning workouts do you guys have in swimming? Seems like every time I come in, that pool is going, man. It's churning. That's hard. It's hard to have a great attitude at 5 o'clock in the morning. Believe me, I've been there. But you get in there and you get, once you get going, man, it's just like any other day. You're going there, you got a job to do. Staying late, encouraging your teammates, getting extra reps, all that stuff. Encouraging teammates goes a long way. No one likes to be yelled at when they come off the court or the field. But people like to be told, hey man, it's all right. We'll get it. You'll get the next one. Trust. It'll happen. Okay, the next thing. What does trust not look like? Not following through on your commitments. So if you say you're going to be there on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, then you need to be there at 8 o'clock. I mean, you got to follow through on that commitment. If you say you're going to do something, then do it. People will lose trust in you if you don't follow through on your commitments. Think about in your life when you've had somebody tell you that they're going to do something and then they don't do it. You lose trust. So, not knowing your assignments. There's nothing worse than running a football play. I was a quarterback, so I got to call the play. That was good. But if the right guard's running one play and the left guard's running a different play, you just wasted it down. Now it's 2nd down and 10. Now you just wasted some time. So know your assignments. If you're in basketball, you gotta know the play, you gotta know the defense. Can't have buffs out there. Finishing third on a sprint when you're the fastest person on the team. That's my favorite. You think I'm going to trust the guy that's dogging it halfway through practice when I know he's the fastest guy on the team? He's not giving me his best effort. So now when it comes time to call somebody's number, as when I was the offensive coordinator, who am I going to trust? The guy that busts it on every play, every down, every practice, or the guy that takes a break halfway through the practice and doesn't go as fast as they can? That's difficult, guys and girls. That's a difficult one. Walking off the court, the mat, and not shaking a teammate's hand. How many of you have been pulled out of a basketball game? Think about this. And you're so mad that you're coming out that when the person came by to give you 5 and say, hey, I got number 35, you didn't even shake their hand. You're so selfish and caught up in your own world that you can't congratulate your teammate for 1 second. So think about that. That's not trust. And then talking badly about a coach or a teammate, that stuff happens, I'm sure, a lot. It can happen, and it's detrimental to a team. It's detrimental. That's not trusting. And if you hear somebody saying that stuff, where is it that you're going to step in and say, wait a minute? That's the same guy that just helped us overcome this challenge that we've been dealing with. That's the same guy that took us to the state finals last year against Cathedral. Now, he's different. Think about that, okay? So, when you talk bad about a teammate, a coach, that's detrimental. Don't let that stuff happen. That's not trust. Okay. What will you risk for your teammates? When I was watching that stuff about the Marines, they said we together and us instead of like I, me, and mine. Think about that. We together and us. And that's one thing I started doing as a girls coach. Never did I say, well, this is my team. This is my school, my. I quit saying that. This is our team. We are going to beat Crawfordsville if we were playing Crawfordsville. We are going to beat Danville. Not I am going to beat Danville or I am going to do that or my. It was we and us. Are you willing to do that? That's pretty cool, isn't it? She's going to do whatever she can to win. I mean, that's pretty cool, and it's against Noblesville too, so that's even better. But individual sports, do your teammates push you to do your best? When Coach O'Neill's up there on the mat, I know he's got the 185-pounder or whatever. He's an individual. Maybe he's not getting pushed enough in practice, so he doesn't reach his full potential because the guy that's wrestling him is his buddy, and he's taking it easy on him every rep because he wants him to look good. I'm a sophomore, he's a senior. It'll be my turn next year. No, push his behind. Push him. Push that guy. Make him better. If it's golf, I remember being on the golf team. I played golf. I know you guys are all probably think I'm corny, but man, football, basketball, and golf. In golf, I'm glad that some of my teammates pushed me. Because you know what? I had to go out there and perform then. I had to beat them. That's kind of fun. Okay, what's next? Oh, look at that. Charlie Warner sighting up there. Look at that guy. Who you playing doubles with? Carson? Yeah. Okay. Without trust, people feel insecure, isolated, and unsure. Success is dependent on others. So it looks to me like Carson is serving. Charlie's got to place his trust in Carson that he's not going to hit him in the back of the head for one, but for another that he's going to put that serve and play, and they're going to be able to win their match. Okay, that's tough. It's kind of like almost like an individual sport, but you only got one other teammate out there. In tennis, I realize you have singles as well as doubles, but success is dependent on others. So, your success, Charlie, is dependent on Carson and vice versa. And that goes for all of you tennis players, you runners. I'm looking at Aaron right here thinking, who's going to push this guy? I just heard one of his girl teammates, female teammates, made a nice commitment, huh? That stuff, you have to push each other. Somebody's got to push him. Okay? Your teammates. It's about the success of others. I'll be honest with you. The other night when we beat Carmel, some of you guys were there. How many of you were at the game when we beat Carmel? How many of you didn't think it was going to happen when you went into the game? Be honest. Okay? As the game went on, did you start to feel a little bit of trust in these players? Did you start to feel a little bit of trust in your school? Did you start to feel like, ooh, Carmel's, they're starting to get a little bit nervous there. Things are tightening up for those guys. I felt that. I felt our kids trusting each other. And that was a good feeling. But what's more important is when we went in the locker room afterwards, you should have seen these guys. That was worth it right there. Just seeing their faces and seeing all that hard work pay off. And I know those kids are trusting us, and Coach Sumter and those guys are trusting. They're laying it out there for us. It's pretty cool. So, hard to let your teammates down when you know they trust you. Charlie, it's hard to let Carson down, right? In a match, don't you think? You know, you're trying to serve, you get a couple double faults or whatever. It's like, holy cow, what am I doing? This guy next to me is dependent on me. I gotta get the next one in. Josh Van Dyke the other night. He had to be nervous, man. You guys remember that? He's at the free throw line. If he makes the free throws, we win. If he doesn't, we lose. That guy, he sunk him, man. That's trust. Being in the game at that time, that's trust. The coaches are saying, look, you're good enough to be out there. Okay? Next slide. How do you gain trust? You build relationships. That's one of the most important things that you'll ever do in your life, is build relationships. That's how you gain trust. When I came to Westfield, you guys in the basketball, you didn't know who I was. You couldn't care less. It's just another assistant coach coming through. But my first goal was not to tell you how much I knew, and I'd coached for 20-some years, and my first thing was I got to find a way to build some relationships with these kids. I got to find a way to get them to know me and to realize that I care about them. And once they realized that I cared about them, then I think they started trusting me, and then I can talk to them about basketball. I can talk to them about things in school, in their lives and things. So be accountable. If you're the one that is supposed to be bringing the milk for the breakfast in the morning, then gosh darn it, bring the milk. If you're the one supposed to buy the thank you card for the coaches and sign all the names, then be accountable. Be the one that does it. Okay? If you're the one that's supposed to fill up the water bottles, then do it to the best of your abilities. Okay? Not everybody's going to be out there doing their thing necessarily on the court. Our managers are unbelievable. The stuff that they go through. Serve others. Be truthful and be respectful. Okay? Not everybody is always going to hear what they want to hear. Sometimes you got to tell them the truth. Okay, Karen, that throw that you gave the first time, that was awful. I'll be honest with you. Okay? But you made a comeback on that next one, and you won the gift card. So I'm very proud of you for doing that, making a comeback. So I was very truthful. I was very honest. I'm being respectful. You guys, you kind of get that. Sometimes you got to tell your teammate, look, your attitude is not good. You know, maybe you need to shape up a little bit. Maybe you need to go home and look in the mirror a little bit. Or, hey, man, your attitude was great tonight. Woo. Man, you led us to a victory because your attitude was different or whatever it may be. Be the hardest worker. When you're the hardest worker, everybody looks at you as, hey, how can you fault that guy? How can you fault that girl? She's the hardest worker out there. Think about it. Seriously, think about all the athletes that you know of that work hard. You can't fault them. How do you fault them? I mean, I get mad at Coach Gilbert every once in a while. Where are you at? I get mad at Coach Gilbert every once in a while. He asks me to do a lot. Not more than I can handle. Not more than I can handle. But you know what? You know why I can do it? Because he's working harder than me. How can I fault the guy when he's working that hard? How can I let him down? Heck, I moved here for that guy. And for this school. You guys don't know this, but we were neighbors, man. At North Montgomery, I had it made. I had it made. I'm telling you right now, I made a lot more money where I came from. I was a head girls basketball coach. I came here to be an assistant. I was the offensive coordinator. Now I coach the freshmen. No offense, freshmen. No offense. You guys get where I'm going with this? I trust that man. With all my heart. That's an amazing thing. He knows that too. He knows it. Okay? Now, will I yell at him after a game and say, I think you messed up? Absolutely. Will we be friends after that? Absolutely. Can I still beat him in one-on-one in basketball? Absolutely. So, show that you care. Okay? Show that you care. And I think that's evident. When there is trust, think about it. There's more innovation. And I think about this because Coach Bunnell tells me all the time about, not all the time, but he's told me about some of the things they do in baseball that I never even realized you could do. Like I thought you just go out there and you hit the ball and you pick up the ball and you throw it first. And he's telling me about pickoff plays and all this stuff. And I'm like, holy cow, that's pretty innovative. That's pretty awesome. I want to try that with my little youth kids, when I'm coaching my son. But when there's trust, there's more innovation. I'm assuming that he has assistant coaches that he can really, really trust and say, look, you guys got it. Am I right? I mean, you guys got the workout today. I'm going to turn it over to you. Innovation, collaboration, productivity. Think about how more productive you can be when you just trust. You just let things happen. I mean, it's amazing. Amazing what happens when you just kind of turn it over. That basketball team that I told you went to the semi-state, there were times when we went in the gym and I knew we were going to win. I mean, I knew before the game it was going to be a blowout. And it was just automatic. We're playing this team from where I went to high school, and it's automatic. We're going to beat them. Just turn it over to the kids, man. We could roll the balls out, and they still would have done the same thing if we wouldn't have coached them a bit. We did all our work during the week, and then on Friday night we said, all right, there's the ball, guys. Go get it. They were like animals on the ball. I mean, and they were getting after it. I'm telling you. It was fun. And they weren't any bigger than any of you guys in here, man. They were skinny runts. I mean, but they had motors. So you're productive. More time spent trying to achieve the team goals when you put the team first and you trust. Think about it. When people don't trust, they start to look out for their own interests. Think about what your own interests might be. I need to score 1,000 points this year. I need to go. I'm a senior. I've got 800 points. I got 200 more to go. Are you more worried about that? Or you got to become the all-time leading scorer in Westfield history. Your own interest. I got to get my scholarship. I got to get that. Me, my. Who's going to get this? What's in it for me? Well, if I do that, what happens for me? That's when things get in the way. Without trust, people tend to look out for their own interests. And I look at that in my own life too. My marriage. In my marriage, if my wife didn't trust me, she's going to start looking out for her own interests. She's going to start looking out for her career or whatever, and It's true about anything that you're in, not necessarily sports. Okay. Now, we've said a lot of things up here. How many of you, without showing hands, truly trust yourself when you're in the batter's box, or you're in that race, or you're getting ready to make that spike? You know what I mean? Truly, truly trust yourself. Because there's different types of trust. You can trust your own self. Like for me, I wanted to be driving today. I didn't want to let anyone else drive my car. Not today. I trust myself driving. If the weather's bad and my wife and I, she sometimes drives, I trust her, but I trust myself more. When it comes to calling the football plays at North Montgomery, I wanted to be the one. Why? Because I trusted myself more than I did maybe anyone else. And that's maybe contradictory to what I'm saying here, but I trusted myself so much because I put all the work in during the week that I felt like I was the best one prepared. Now, think about this. How many of you truly trust your teammates? When it comes down to it, think about the teams that you belong to. Do you truly trust your teammates to make that catch? To not fumble? What game was it the other day where the guy fumbled late in the game? Was it the Bengals? Bengals game, yeah. All he had to do was hold on to the football. They win. He fumbled. But they must have trusted him to give him the ball. So when it all comes down to it, there's the individual trust, and then there's the trust that you grant to your teammates and your coaches. I mean, I know sometimes it might be hard to just give trust to someone. So you have to earn that, and you guys are you're in that process of learning how to earn that trust. And I don't think that's an easy thing, especially when you have you have a lot of things going on in your life. Some of you are multiple sport athletes. You're going from coach to coach. You might be hearing one thing from one coach, a different thing from another. Who do you trust? That's when you got to be able to go and talk to your coaches and say, this is what I'm feeling. Okay. Well, let's go back to what I said before. What's TIE? What's it stand for?
Trust is essential.
Trust is essential. Trust is essential. And I think probably, for the most part, you guys would like to say that you do trust. But down deep inside, do you truly, truly trust yourself? How do you get to trust yourself too? Jackson, how do you trust yourself? How do you gain trust in your own abilities?
Preparing yourself.
Okay? Yeah, you got to prepare. There's mental preparation, there's physical preparation. Sometimes when I go in that weight room, it's amazing. The guys are doing some of the things that I'm like, holy cow, I can't do that. You guys have seen me do some of it, right? Some of that squat stuff. Ooh, Coach Hansen's laughing. I mean, because he knows. But you guys are being put through the best workouts I've ever seen in my life, and you got to trust. You got to trust Coach Hansen as well. He's going to get you there. Okay. Questions? No? Is that the last slide? I think it is. I might have finished early, so I don't know. Maybe not. Am I going too long? Okay.
So 2 things. Again, tomorrow we'll have Kevin. He'll be speaking with Coach Pinnell, so you definitely don't want to miss that. Tell us if you have any questions that you want us to ask in advance, and then please stack the chairs way out. We'll see you tomorrow.